Imagine this: a quiet kitchen at dusk. The light filters in through the blinds, casting long golden stripes across the countertop. And there, in a simple glass jar, sit the most ordinary of foods: nuts. Silent, unassuming, yet holding within them the power to either guard your heart or betray it. For decades, we've been told that nuts are nature's perfect snack, rich in protein, brimming with energy, and steeped in tradition. Ancient Persian traders carried them across deserts as provisions of life. Roman soldiers marched with them as symbols of strength. And in nearly every culture, from the Mediterranean to Asia, nuts have been honored as both delicacy and medicine. But here's the truth that feels almost like betrayal. Not every nut is your friend. Especially after the age of 60, when every choice you make in the kitchen can echo through the corridors of your heart, your bones, your memory. A misstep can quietly open the door to inflammation, high blood pressure, even the slow erosion of memory itself. And it isn't speculation. It isn't rumor. It's science. The Journal of the American College of Cardiology revealed a sobering fact. The wrong nuts can inflame the body, disturb blood flow, and accelerate the very diseases you fight hardest to avoid as the years advance. Think of it as a secret war inside your pantry. On one side, warriors, almonds that fortify your bones, walnuts that shield your brain, pistachios that defend your vision, and Brazil nuts that restore your energy. On the other, traitors disguised as friends, peanuts carrying silent toxins, cashews laced with risks for your kidneys, macadamias burdened with fats that weigh heavy on the heart, and pine nuts that can meddle with your very medicines. And the most startling part? You may already have the most dangerous one sitting in your kitchen at this very moment, tucked away in trail mixes, blended into butters, baked into pastries. Familiar, trusted, until now. What we uncover in this journey is not about demonizing food, but about awareness, about knowing which allies strengthen your body's fortress and which enemies chip away at it quietly. Because after 60, every bite matters more. A fall can change the shape of your independence. A small spike in blood pressure can alter your heart's rhythm. A fading memory can redraw the boundaries of your world, but it doesn't have to. You hold the power to tip the scales in your favor, with knowledge, with choice, with the courage to let go of comfort foods that harm and embrace the ones that carry you forward. So stay with me, because what you're about to discover will not only challenge what you've always believed, it may even rewrite how you look at the handful of nuts you eat tomorrow. Picture an almond between your fingers. Its surface is rough, ridged by time, its shape simple, unremarkable, until you realize that inside this humble shell lies a quiet defense against one of aging's most relentless battles, the weakening of the bones. After 60, the human skeleton begins to whisper its protest. Each year, calcium slips away. Joints stiffen. Fractures become not just painful accidents, but events that can change the very course of one's independence. A broken hip can steal not only mobility, but freedom. And so, every nutrient you place in your body becomes a silent negotiation with time. This is where almonds step onto the stage. 1 cup of almonds carries nearly 100 milligrams of calcium, not enough to replace what the body loses, but enough to slow the tide, to hold back the river of fragility that threatens to sweep away stability. Yet calcium alone is not the true story. The secret is in the partnership. Magnesium, abundant in almonds, is the gatekeeper, guiding calcium into the bones, fortifying their lattice, while keeping it away from the arteries, where misplaced calcium can harden vessels and summon heart disease. It is a choreography as old as biology itself, and almonds conduct it with quiet mastery. But the almond's gifts don't end in the skeleton. They echo in the heart, where monounsaturated fats, kin to those in olive oil, lower the treacherous LDL cholesterol, extending a hand of protection when the heart grows more vulnerable with age. They echo in the gut, where 3.5 grams of fiber per serving battle one of the most undignified yet common afflictions of senior years, constipation. And they echo in the brain, where vitamin E and the flavonoids tucked into the almond's skin shield delicate neurons from oxidative stress, slowing the march of memory's decline. Think of it as armor, layer upon layer, subtle yet enduring. Bones strengthened against fracture, arteries kept supple, the mind preserved against erosion, even digestion restored to rhythm, all in a nut small enough to disappear between your teeth. And if those teeth find almonds too hard, the solution is simple. Sliced almonds. Unsweetened almond butter. The benefits remain. The form bends to your needs. Almonds, then, are not just food. They are a philosophy. A reminder that strength in old age is built not in great heroic moments, but in small daily acts of care. A handful of almonds, simple, ordinary, becomes an act of rebellion against frailty, a defiance against time itself. In every crunch, there is a choice to build, to preserve, to fight back against the quiet disintegration of the body. And in that choice lies dignity. It is no accident that the walnut resembles the human brain. 2 hemispheres, folded and ridged, bound together by a fragile shell. For centuries, people believed that this likeness was more than coincidence, that nature, in its wisdom, left signs for us to follow. In the walnut, they saw a key to the mind. And today, modern science confirms what ancient intuition already suspected. Inside this wrinkled shell lies one of the most powerful allies for the aging brain. Walnuts are abundant in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that keeps brain cell membranes flexible, ensuring the signals of thought and memory can pass freely, like whispers moving through open corridors. Without it, the pathways harden and communication slows. In a study published in the Journal of Nutrition, seniors who ate just 1.5 ounces of walnuts daily for 8 weeks displayed sharper thinking, faster mental agility, and more adaptive problem-solving. Imagine that, the simple act of eating a nut enhancing the clarity of thought, as if polishing the glass of the mind. But walnuts do more than sharpen. They protect. Their polyphenols, small but mighty plant compounds, slip past the blood-brain barrier and wage war against inflammation, the silent fire that consumes neurons over time. It is inflammation that accelerates the cruel progression of dementia, that blurs names, faces, and histories once engraved in memory. Walnuts, with their quiet power, become firefighters in the forest of the brain. And there is more. Within walnuts resides melatonin, the same hormone your body once made abundantly in youth to guide sleep. With age, melatonin fades, and rest grows elusive. But a handful of walnuts at dusk can restore, gently, the rhythm of sleep. An unbroken night, a mind restored by morning. Their gifts extend to the heart as well. Walnuts deliver arginine, an amino acid that relaxes blood vessels, softening the pressure within. Combined with antioxidants that sweep away oxidative stress, they form a double guard against high blood pressure and cardiac disease. Some studies even suggest walnuts amplify the effects of medications for cholesterol and hypertension, like a trusted ally strengthening your shield in battle. Of course, walnuts are not eternal. Their richness makes them vulnerable to rancidity, their oils delicate. Keep them cool in the fridge where time moves slower. 7 to 9 halves a day. That is the sweet spot. Not too much, not too little. Just enough to sustain the mind, the heart, the rhythm of life. Their taste carries a subtle bitterness, and yet, that bitterness is the mark of their potency. It is the flavor of antioxidants, the trace of their power. Like medicine, it is not always sweet, but it is true. The walnut, then, is more than a nut. It is a symbol, a reminder that memory, like the walnut's shell, must be guarded. That resilience is built not in grand gestures, but in daily choices, repeated with patience. The tree of memory grows not only in orchards, but within us, branching, blossoming, enduring. And the walnut is its seed. Among the orchards of the Middle East, where pistachio trees have grown for thousands of years, these little green gems were once reserved for royalty. Ancient Persian kings feasted on them, and caravans carried them across deserts as precious cargo. Yet today, they sit quietly on grocery shelves, often overlooked beside almonds and cashews. A humble nut, hiding extraordinary power. For those over 60, pistachios may be one of the body's most underestimated allies. Their secret lies in balance. Unlike many nuts heavy with sodium, pistachios carry within them a natural antidote, potassium. Just 1 ounce holds nearly 300 milligrams, enough to help the kidneys flush excess salt from the body. This simple act restores equilibrium, lowering the pressure in the bloodstream like a valve slowly releasing steam. And the results are tangible. Studies show that a handful of pistachios daily can lower systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 points. At first, that may sound small, but for the aging heart, it can mean the difference between steady rhythm and dangerous strain. The effect is so consistent, it has been compared to the outcomes of certain blood pressure medications, without the side effects, without the bitter aftertaste of dependency. But pistachios guard more than the heart. They guard vision. Hidden inside their green and golden hues are lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 antioxidants the human eye desperately craves. With time, the macula, the eye's center of clarity, thins and weakens, leading to blurred vision and, for many seniors, the shadow of macular degeneration. Pistachios, in their quiet way, lay a protective film across the eyes, defending the ability to see, to read, to recognize the faces of those we love. There is also a gentleness to pistachios. Unlike almonds or macadamias, their bite is softer, kinder to teeth, that may no longer welcome harsh crunches. For those with dentures, crowns, or fragile enamel, pistachios are accessible, forgiving. And if you buy them in their shells, another secret emerges. The ritual of cracking them open slows you down. The pile of shells becomes a reminder of how much you've eaten, guiding you toward moderation without discipline, feeling like deprivation. Yet even here, wisdom is required. Choose pistachios unsalted or lightly salted, for too much sodium erases their gift. The right dose is clear, about 49 pistachios, a single ounce each day. Enough to nourish, not to overwhelm. So consider this. Every time you hold a pistachio between your fingers, you are not just holding a snack. You are holding a tiny guardian, a defender of your arteries, a protector of your vision, a companion to your longevity. The pistachio is proof that greatness often hides in what seems small, that protection need not roar or boast, but can whisper quietly through a handful of green jewels. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, towering trees stretch toward the sky. Among them grows a giant whose fruit falls like cannonballs to the jungle floor. Inside its heavy shell lies one of nature's rarest gifts, the Brazil nut. Unlike other nuts, where a handful is recommended, with Brazil nuts, one is enough. One nut, one spark, one choice that can shift the balance of your health. The secret is selenium, a mineral so powerful it has been called the microscopic guardian. Selenium fuels the thyroid, the small butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your neck that governs energy, metabolism, even mood. With age, the thyroid often falters. Fatigue lingers longer. Weight creeps higher. A shadow of depression can dim the light of daily life. But with selenium, just a trace amount, the thyroid steadies and the rhythm of energy returns. A single Brazil nut provides more than the body's daily requirement of this vital mineral. Yes, only one. In a world obsessed with excess, Brazil nuts remind us that sometimes less is not weakness, less is wisdom. But the story doesn't end at the thyroid. Selenium is also a warrior against inflammation, shielding neurons from the slow burn that erodes memory. It fortifies the immune system, keeping defenses sharp even as age dulls them. It reduces the risk of cognitive decline, whispering resilience into the folds of the brain. The Brazil nut also echoes its siblings in other ways. Its healthy fats lower LDL cholesterol. Its fiber steadies digestion, offering relief from the all-too-common struggle with constipation in later years. But here, moderation is not just advice, it is law. Too much selenium tips the scale into toxicity, causing nausea, hair loss, even nerve damage. 1 or 2 nuts a day, that is the sacred balance. Anything more risks turning a gift into a threat. Think of it like fire. A single flame warms, illuminates, and sustains. But left unchecked, it consumes. Brazil nuts teach us the philosophy of restraint, the art of knowing when enough is truly enough. So the next time you reach for one, remember, you are not eating a nut. You are partaking in a ritual of balance. One small act, one small nut that strengthens the thyroid, sharpens the mind, and steadies the heart. The Brazil nut is proof that sometimes the mightiest power hides not in abundance, but in the power of one. Not all that calls itself a nut is a friend. Some wear the disguise of nourishment while carrying hidden dangers within. 2 of the most beloved, peanuts and cashews, remind us that popularity is not the same as safety. Let us begin with peanuts. Cheap, abundant, everywhere, from ballpark snacks to school lunchboxes, from candy bars to jars of butter. But here lies the first deception. Peanuts are not nuts at all. They are legumes, cousins to beans, and in that lineage they carry a darker trait, the risk of aflatoxins. These toxins, born of mold that can grow during storage, are invisible to the eye and tasteless on the tongue, yet over time they accumulate in the liver, corroding its resilience, raising the risk of cancer. For the young, the body may flush out some of this burden, but after 60, the body's filters grow weary, its defenses slower. What once passed unnoticed begins to linger, taking root. Add to this the abundance of omega-6 fats in peanuts, fats that, when imbalanced with omega-3s, fuel inflammation like kindling on a fire. Arthritis, joint pain, chronic stiffness, all can be worsened by this hidden imbalance. And yet most don't eat peanuts in their plainest form. They eat them roasted in oils, salted to excess, blended with sugar into peanut butter, or bound with preservatives in bars. What began as a humble legume becomes a processed temptation, pushing blood pressure higher, blood sugar sharper, and waistlines heavier. Then there are cashews, smooth, creamy, seductive. They appear in trail mixes, stir-fries, even vegan desserts as a healthier alternative to dairy. But beneath their charm lies a complexity that the aging body cannot always afford. Cashews carry more carbohydrates than most nuts. Their glycemic index is higher, which means blood sugar rises faster, an especially dangerous risk for the nearly 1 in 4 seniors living with diabetes or its shadow, pre-diabetes. Hidden within are oxalates, compounds that interfere with calcium absorption and, in higher amounts, can seed the growth of kidney stones. For an older body already more vulnerable to kidney strain, this is no small matter. And just like peanuts, most cashews are not eaten raw. They are roasted in oils, heavily salted, stripped of their natural simplicity. Every handful then delivers not only sugar spikes and oxalates, but also added fats and sodium, amplifying the strain on the heart. The truth is not that peanuts or cashews are poison in a single bite. Rather, it is in the daily habit, the slow repetition, that their shadows emerge. A spoonful of peanut butter each morning, a handful of cashews every night. Over months and years, these habits carve pathways to inflammation, kidney stress, and heart strain. And so, while indulgence once in a while may be harmless, relying on them as staples, as daily allies, is not the wisest choice, especially when there are other nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, Brazil nuts, that offer strength without hidden cost. In this, there is a lesson larger than food, that not everything familiar is safe, that not all comfort nourishes. And that wisdom lies in questioning even the simplest of traditions. There are nuts that whisper of indulgence, rare, expensive, buttery, delicate. They arrive not in plain bowls but in gift boxes, delicacies reserved for the few. Yet beneath their elegance lies a hidden toll, one that the aging body pays more dearly than it realizes. Macadamias are perhaps the most seductive of all. Their texture is velvet, their flavor rich, their reputation one of luxury. But in that luxury hides a heavy burden, calories and saturated fat. Just a small handful can deliver over 200 calories, most of it from fat. For a young body, such richness might be burned away. For a body over 60, metabolism slower, mobility often reduced. Those calories settle around the waist, around the heart, around the joints already aching under the weight of time. Worse, much of that fat is saturated, the kind that drives up LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries and invites heart disease. Each bite may feel indulgent, but for the heart it is a slow strain, another stone added to the burden. And their density makes them easy to overeat. A few become a handful. A handful becomes a bowl. What feels like a snack is, in truth, a meal's worth of fat swallowed in silence. For many seniors, there is another price: the crunch. Macadamias are dense, hard, unyielding. To teeth weakened by age, crowns, or dentures, they can be punishing. What begins as indulgence can end as discomfort, or worse, dental damage. Add to this the strain on the gallbladder, forced to process their high-fat load, and the illusion of luxury fades into consequence. Then there are pine nuts, tiny, delicate, often sprinkled as garnish or ground into pesto. They seem harmless, even refined, but their dangers are more insidious. Certain compounds within pine nuts can interfere with the way the body processes medications. Blood pressure drugs, cholesterol treatments, arthritis prescriptions, even diabetes management. For seniors who rely on these lifelines, pine nuts can quietly reduce effectiveness, leaving conditions less controlled, treatments less reliable. There is also the curious phenomenon known as pine nut syndrome, a bitter metallic taste that can linger for days or even weeks after consumption. For younger people, it is little more than annoyance. But for older adults, this lingering bitterness can blunt appetite. And when appetite falters, weight loss follows. In the elderly, unintended weight loss is not a trivial inconvenience. It is a threat to immunity, strength, and resilience. And pine nuts, rich in polyunsaturated fats, oxidize quickly. Once spoiled, they no longer heal but harm, fanning the flames of inflammation instead of cooling them. Arthritis, joint pain, chronic inflammation, all can be worsened, invisibly, by nuts that taste fine yet carry rancid oils within. It is not that macadamias and pine nuts are inherently evil. They carry antioxidants, healthy fats, and in moderation can still offer pleasure without devastation. But they are luxuries, not staples. Occasional indulgence, not daily fuel. The problem is not in tasting them, it is in trusting them as allies, when in truth, they are indulgences best enjoyed sparingly. They remind us of a deeper truth. Not everything rare is valuable. Not everything costly is wise. Sometimes the foods draped in elegance, the ones sold as delicacies, are not the ones that sustain life the longest. In the quiet arithmetic of longevity, the humble almond often gives more than the glamorous macadamia, the modest pistachio more than the costly pine nut. The lesson is not to deny yourself entirely, but to understand what these indulgences demand in return. To see clearly that every luxury carries its toll, and to choose when it is worth paying. In the end, this story isn't really about nuts. It is about choice. About the invisible crossroads that appear in our lives every single day. At the kitchen counter, at the dining table, in the quiet moment before we reach into the pantry. Choices so small, they seem forgettable. Yet together, they shape the arc of our health, the weight of our years, the sharpness of our minds. After 60, time itself feels different. The body is no longer reckless with youth, no longer able to absorb endless mistakes without consequence. Every meal becomes a kind of dialogue with the future. Will this sustain me, or will it betray me? Some nuts are guardians. Almonds strengthening the bones that carry us. Walnuts preserving the memories that define us. Pistachios protecting the eyes that witness our lives. Brazil nuts, tiny but mighty, fueling the thyroid's flame. Each one, in its own way, a companion on the journey of longevity. Others, though, wear masks. Peanuts with their silent toxins. Cashews with their sugar spikes and hidden oxalates. Macadamias with their buttery indulgence that weighs heavy on the heart. Pine nuts, delicate but treacherous, interfering with medicines and appetite. These are not villains in themselves, but they are luxuries that demand caution, moderation, respect. The decision is yours. And that is the profound truth. Longevity is not gifted. It is built. Not in grand moments, but in the quiet discipline of daily acts. A handful of almonds instead of a bowl of peanuts. A measured Brazil nut instead of endless cashews. A choice that seems small, but carries the gravity of years. Philosophers have long said that we become what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The same is true of health. We do not arrive at old age strong, sharp, and independent by accident. We arrive by design, by ritual, by 1,000 small choices that say, I will protect my future self. So the question is not, which nut will you eat today? The question is, what story will you tell with your choices? Will your pantry be a battlefield of silent enemies, or a sanctuary of allies that defend your bones, your heart, your memory, your independence? The answer rests not in doctors' offices or pharmacy shelves, but in your own hands, one handful at a time.